counseling psychologists, specializing in clinical and mental health counseling.
Just the mic. All right. Thank you very much for everybody who is here. Just to understand the demographic, do we have government people in the house? Anybody from the government? SME? Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much. So basically, I'm Adesina. I'm the CEO for TradeLenda, and I've been asked to speak on unlocking credit for SMEs as a way of enhancing shared economic prosperity. For me, I strongly believe that this session should be recorded so that it can be shared with various government organizations even after this, because as you can see here, a national credit policy is very crucial for the enhancement of MSMEs if we really want to be able to drive growth both in the midterm and also sustainable development, jobs across the continent. And because we are in the South-South region today, I'm going to try to narrow it down to the potentials that can happen. This is my second time coming to Port Harcourt for this kind of event, in that sense. And most of the time when they call for Bole Festival, you see everywhere jam-packed. But when they call for this kind of educative sessions, you see maybe just 10 people or even 5, showing up. It just means that there's still a whole lot of work that needs to be done across this particular region. And we need the support of the government to be able to do that. So who are we at TradeLenda? TradeLenda is actually a digital bank. Some of you are familiar with OPay, MoneyPoint. We are a digital bank focused on MSMEs, small and medium scale businesses, helping them to be able to scale. Please, can you go to the third slide? So basically, yeah, you can go to the next now. Yeah, I just want people to be able to, see pictures as I flow. So yeah, So basically, we've been able to support MSMEs disbursing right now almost close to $6 million US equivalent for MSMEs, majorly across Nigeria. The bulk of this population, yes, in Lagos, Osun State, mostly Southwest region. We've been able to support 69,000 farmers in the North region, Kaduna, Plateau, and all those neighboring Nasarawa and all those other states. We're bringing it a bit closer home, South-South, Southwest more, by trying to collaborate with more governments to be able to support more MSMEs. But how do we really, talk about credit without emphasizing why does a business actually need credit? Let's go to the next slide. So, a small business owner comes into business. I'm not here to educate you about why you're in business, right? But comes into business to create value. And one of the crucial things, for business owners, because I want to believe most of us here are business owners, is to understand the market that you operate in, which literally most people here already understand. You're either serving, let me just take a quick sample. What do you do?
Well, I'm the daughter of a small business owner, so I'm here for the education. But currently, I was volunteering for the program. Yeah, so that was what I was doing.
How about you, Ma?
I own a tech hub here in Port Harcourt.
So you support startups and also MSMEs within your tech hub? Train. Awesome, awesome. What about you, Ma?
Well, I'm a farmer. Yes, and also process agro products.
Welcome, Ma. Good afternoon. What do you do?
I support. I'm a business consultant. Yes.
I like the demographic distribution. So basically, oh, I missed it. Sorry. Let's have inclusion. Let it not be only females.
Okay, I'm in EdTech. So we do softwares for schools.
Awesome. Thank you. So basically, all of us understand our market, whether it's the school, whether it's those within your agro value chain or the tech hub, those you support, to transition into tech. Ma, sorry, I missed you. What do you do, ma? What do you do? Oh, okay. So you work with development agencies? Awesome, awesome. So this is very important actually also. So yeah, we understand the market, we understand you as a person, and then also your product. So just to analyze a bit, just in case some people don't understand. The market is who are your audience? The entrepreneur is yourself, understanding your strength and how to attract the right people and resources to complement your strength so that you can be able to effectively deliver the product that you are offering to the market. The product is actually that tangible stuff. It's either a service or a physical item that you're actually delivering value for. Some key barriers that whether we as players who are trying to drive, yeah, the next slide, whether we as key players, operators in this space that we've seen is first the high rates, cost of funds. Cost of funds this year alone has more than tripled. With the MPR currently around 27%, there's no bank that you walk into that would give you anything lower than 35% per annum. Now, when you then go to, and again, the banks don't even give MSMEs, right? Because they need collateral. But when you then come to digital, platforms like ours, we have to then make a margin of it, right? Because most times we either work with the banks or we work with DFIs or something. But if we get from the banks, we also have to then put a margin, and then that translates to maybe like between 40 upward percent. And that's why you see most loan sharks today are charged even as high as 70, 80%, as the case may be. Financial literacy is also huge. Most people think that the loan, when they come to a loan platform or maybe a bank, is actually free money. The money is not free. There's been that misconception that the money is free. It's not free. In fact, I used to tell people, especially within the startup space, people who are emerging, that it's either you don't take money at all, or you take more than you need that will get you to achieve your next milestones. Because once you take that money, whether it's loan, whether it's equity, you need to be able to make sure that you deliver on that target milestone. So there has to be that collaboration to drive financial literacy and also ensure that people in the rural areas are not excluded. Typically, and it's been proven, and I'm sure there's a panel on it, or maybe a panel yesterday on it, whereby it's proven that women are actually excluded. But there's also aggregated data that shows that women actually has high chance of paying back their loans compared to men. So the question is, why are we not driving inclusions for the women? It just means that there's a whole lot of gaps that needs to be strengthened. So I'm going to deep dive, because I've been told I have quite a short time, into what we do and some of the work we've done and why you should also become part of our community so that we can drive and enhance growth together. Please, the next slide. Next slide, please. Nobody's there. Okay. So basically, we have been able to position ourselves as that go-to where you don't need upfront collateral. But we don't stop at that. We also work with clusters of small business owners, farmers across various regions to be able to give them access to market. Now, we do access to market because we understand that it's not just to give you money. You need to be able to sell, to be able to return that money. You need to be able to strike strategic partnerships and distribution channels that will allow you to be able to use our money effectively and return it back to us. Within this same framework of what we call the TradeLenda Fair, we also drive strategic handshakes, by allowing government agencies to be able to discover unique businesses that actually exist within their states. So we had the first one in Lagos where we had the former president in attendance. We had others in other regions across Southwest. One of it is also in Kwara, where we had all the commissioners come. And what we've noticed is after this event, the small businesses are able to relate better with their government stakeholders and are able to table their, challenges and even accelerate. Maybe it's NAFDAC registration, maybe it's SON, or any of those various regulatory, requirements that you need. So again, for development agencies who will be listening to this after this, or government agencies, we're more than happy to come to your state and drive this. Now, about the loan. We currently today charge 6% on all our loans monthly. And again, if you do the math, you would understand that it's only fair for us to charge that, right? Based on the current MPR and others. We're looking for an opportunity to be able to drive in collaborative efforts with whether NGOs, whether development agencies, or even governments in this region to be able to drive support for small businesses. Some of our success stories after some of these our engagements that we do is one, we've seen a business owner. She manufactures spices, Zobo tea, and all those things, and also Zobo wine. Get distribution to over 100 stores within a time frame of 6 months plus after some of our engagement. We've also seen government who didn't even know that some of these businesses exist, giving grants. Some giving 2 million naira grants. We also give grants whenever we do this program. So the first one we did, we gave almost close to about 5 million. And then one of our partners also sponsored, this particular lady who was able to get distribution access, to an all expense paid abroad so that she can go for trainings that can also equip her to be better. And I think she should be somewhere here. Yeah, that's her here. So this is actually us in Kwara. That's the commissioner. Most of the commissioners were all present. That was the commissioner for youth then. It's now water resources. That's all their government officials obviously present. And all of them also got the sum of 2 million naira in grants and support. So what kind of products in terms of loans? Yeah, these are various activities we do within the state, driving financial inclusion and training and all that. So the product, let's just go to the product slide. Okay, let's go to the product slide first. Yeah, so you can get your loan on our platform, whether it's inventory finance you want, whether it's you have an invoice, you've done the job, you want to be able to get your money up front instead of waiting for 30 or 45 days, or perhaps you don't even have the money to do that job, right? And you have an opportunity to make a supply, we can actually finance up to 70% of that invoice. As business owners, it's also very hard to get, efficient insurance. We can give you insurance through our partners, whether it's fire, whether it's burglary, whether it's goods in transit, whether it's even healthcare. Because what we've seen is most of the various packages by some of these HMOs for business owners are actually very quack. You buy an HMO, and by HMO, I'm talking about health insurance, which literally doesn't even help you. You still have to pay out of your pocket to supplement, that, cap that they've given to you in the hospital. So for us, we have various partners that we work with. If you're part of our community, you can actually get top-notch insurance that can give you the necessary value that anybody working in a multinational, whether it's Shell or any of those other companies, big names, actually have access to. You can also save on our platform and earn high rates, good rates of returns. Track record, we work with multiple farmers. We support farmers specifically in pre-farming, which is actually input. We have various partners. which we can support you in terms of input financing, whether it's fertilizer, whether it's seed, and then post-harvest. I was here in the last session and they were talking about where after harvest, a lot of glut actually happens in the market, right? For us, what we do is we work with multiple stakeholders who are now able to support you. You are able to store your product, especially for grains and non-perishable items. You store this product, but we will give you 50% of the value of those products upfront, meaning you no longer have to worry about selling immediately because, again, you have 50% of your money, right? And you store it, and then when the market stabilizes, you can then sell off all your other products. That's really all about us. And I'll be taking a fireside with Step, after this, and I'm sure you can ask a whole lot of questions. But if you have any questions right now, please, I'm happy to take it. Thank you.
So you mentioned that when you work with farmers, you have particular aspects of their business that you help them with. You mentioned pre-harvest and post, right?
Yeah, pre-farming
Pre-farming and
and
harvest
post-harvest.
and post-harvest.
Yes.
So that's for farming, but
Yeah.
like you have other kinds of businesses that you support, right?
Sure.
So-
Can you go back to the product? So we have inventory financing.
Mm-hmm.
So you, a business owner, you want to buy inventories
Mm.
that will help you to be able to grow. You say you're into what again? Sorry.
No. I said I'm the daughter of the small business owner. So
Okay.
I don't.
What's your mom into?
She's a caterer. I
Okay.
don't know. I had this weird dream. She gave me an apron, and then she said, it meant a lot. And she's actually close to retirement. So I thought, oh, I need to sit up now. so, so I guess this is a really good place to start from, right? So, when you mentioned that, you were saying something about investments.
No, investment is different,
Okay.
but you can get it from our platform and get good returns. Let's say, for example, you can get, as high as 3%, from 1.5% monthly to 3%, depending on the amount you place in on our platform.
Although where the question I was asking, where I really wanted to emphasize was like, if you, it's like you support with particular phases. You're not really entrenched in the person's business. Like you support particular phases. So I guess I just wanted to know, like, if I was coming with a food business, what phases of my business
Can
would
we
you be able to
support?
support exactly?
Okay, so the first thing we do is giving you a bank account. If you go on our platform, you get a bank account which is dedicated for your inflows and outflows. You can use that to receive money and also use that to make payment, right? And then you can also issue invoice. You can also track all your transactions and all those things, all like an accounting, stuff, all in one place, right? Which means that you don't necessarily need to go and start getting multiple accounting softwares here and there because you can do a whole lot on our platform. Then whenever you need a loan, we are there for you. But we also then don't stop at that. We have various engagement, advisory capacity. If you want to, get maybe equity funds, we can support you with that through our partners. So one of the color gas, I don't think they showed that. They wanted to grow to 4 outlets in Plateau State. What we did was to work, because again, it's more than the normal money we give them, right? To build a gas plant, they needed about 100 million plus for every gas plant. So we worked with our stakeholders, introduced them to those stakeholders, and they were then able to then build those gas plants. And right now they have 4, and they're still growing. So yeah, we can, depending on how ambitious you are, we can work with you and introduce you to different stakeholders on advisory capacity. Thank you.
So, what are the typical tenures for your loans? Because you said 6% monthly, and I know that means people are not doing 72% annually. So, how long typically do they range, and do you give discounted rates for longer tenures?
So for funds that come directly from us, yes, 6%, usually 30 to 90 days, because these people turn it over, quite fast. It's either you're doing a supply and they pay you in 45 days or 30 days or 60 days, or you're buying inventory for your catering, the items you want to buy, rice, bag of rice, all those things. You want to prepare for Christmas ahead, so it usually short term, right? But again, people come back again. They come back, like that. Yeah. Right.
Okay, because we work with farmers at pastures and serving as off-takers. I will know that typically, even for the best of produce, the cycle is usually around 3 months. So if I'm doing 6%, because I heard that you have a program for farmers, so it's to ask, is it the same with the regular? Of course, for people, if it's a regular trader who is turning the money over virtually every day or every week, it's easier to manage a 6% or a 5% on a monthly basis. But whereby I need to wait for like a 3 months, that's like 6 already. Interest is already accumulating. 6 times 3 is already 18%, which you may get from if some produce that are 6 months, some produce are 1 year, and all of that. How do you manage such? And just to also, is it to appeal or to speak on behalf of my fellow farmers here? You need to create a structure out of your regular ones here that can accommodate our peculiarity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So what we're doing in that regard is to work with development agency. We're in talks with Bank of Industry, and in touch with Development Bank of Nigeria to try to crash down this money. The reality is, if we get the money at 1.2%, we'll give it out at 2%, right? Which will be cheaper. But I can tell you that today, the banks that we work with, some of them are giving us at 3.5%, 4%. There's no way. Yes. Do you know the MPR right now? Yes. No, the MPR, you can Google it, is 27%. That is the CBN giving to them, right? So you can imagine what they would then give to people. So is the way the economy is, right? But we're working with all these development agencies and we're trying to drive it down. I think my time is off. I'm happy to engage outside of the session. Thank you very much.